I still can see this on YouTube, or I don't know, maybe just my.
Yeah, I just probably should be like live in like any second now.
Okay, let's start with this screen
Mm,
and put this here first.
just Adam, can you on your other?
Okay.
Can
Okay.
you,
Okay.
Adam?
Sorry.
Can you just mute myself in the echo, please?
Yeah,
Or
it
us?
should be all right now. Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome to the next weekly episode. I think we can start already. It's
Yep.
1 minute to 7. Most of you are watching this from the replay anyway, so yeah. So welcome to the next episode of the Musical Chairs, our weekly stream where we talk about BTC ETH, some altcoins and some stuff that's going on. Before we start, the stream is as always sponsored by Coin Market Manager, which is a journal. As you can see here, it costs around $800-700 a year. It takes the APY from Bybit and pulls all the important data. Runner had a nice thread actually a couple days ago, I believe, on Twitter about it and how it helped him with his trading. Anyway, if you are going to register the account on Bybit with the link in the description, you can just get the lifetime access for the whole thing for free. You don't have to pay anything, so it's kind of a nice deal in my opinion, where you can get all the features and everything for Bybit just for free by using our link in the description. Okay, so with this out of the way, let's start as always with some thoughts on Bitcoin and ETH. I hope you can see the trading view screen now. Anyway, BTC, we are going to start on a weekly real quick. Not much has happened in the last 3 weeks. As you can see, we are at the actually same price as we were 3 weeks ago. But there are some things that I want to talk about from my personal perspective for the things that I'm looking at. If we are going to take a look on a weekly, without doing any kind of a huge overcomplication, you can very clearly see that we have a level of SR that we are testing. I think a lot of people are getting bullish here at the moment, based on stuff like derivatives data. We are still trading in a little bit of discount, I believe, with the spot against the quarterly futures and stuff like this. But for me, and from kind of my experience, these are the situations where we are still at the weekly resistance. It's a huge level. I wouldn't be too crazy about this. From the volume profile perspective, you can see that we are trying to accept into this kind of a next huge area of volumes. And here are basically some clues that I've been looking at. You can see there is this little bit of a low volume node area between 28 and 29.3. This was the level basically in line with the weekly SR, which I was really looking to get flipped for any kind of continuation higher. We tried it last week, we failed. So this is your kind of a first signal of bearishness, in my opinion. On the other hand, though, last week we also took out the last week low and traded at the edges of these volumes. So, in my opinion, this is a little bit like, you can make a both bullish and bearish argument at the moment. We took the last week low. Let me take a look on a daily. And as you can see, as we took the last week low, this, in my opinion, was really kind of supposed to run. There was not many reasons for this to fail again at these previous highs, around 28.9. And with this failure at the highs being the more recent price action, obviously this happened on Thursday, and we are having a little bit of sell-off today. I am leaning a little more bearish at the moment because, like I said, we had this more recent failure. If this would have been really bullish, we should be kind of flipping this area, moving towards 31, 30k at least area. So on the lower time frames, we sold off overnight, pushed a little bit back higher. We are kind of rejecting this from the H4. In my opinion, let me draw this on the line. This like what I've been looking at like the start of the week. I'm currently in a short position on BTC. I shorted basically the retest of this kind of failure for the weekend. Then we moved lower, and I also added into the position here with my kind of stop sitting above these highs. So in my opinion, as long as these highs hold, this is my kind of like soft spot stop. This is the hard stop. As long as these two hold, we have a double bottom that we formed overnight. We had this kind of low here. Also, these lows do not look like, that these kind of strong lows that had this kind of excess and pushed it higher. So I am expecting, when it comes to BTC, a little lower prices. If we manage to break once again back above kind of this area, this is like 28.5, closing above basically the high of the day from today, then I would be most likely closing my shorts, flipping longs. But as things are looking right now, I am expecting the rotation back towards at least 27, 26k, 26.5, which once again, last thing that I want to show you on the profile is that this can be seen like a one big high volume node. We have this edge back towards here. One side failed to break above, most likely rotation back to the lower side. Then if things get really kind of slippery and we start falling off much more, 25.2 would be kind of next area. You can see this low volume node right here within, so this just should hold. If we are going to break under 26.5, then move to 25k should be quite quick. And the upside, like I said, once we start to get back above 28.5, 29, next move should be fairly quick, and I would say this could kind of overshoot all the way back to at least 31k, basically, once again filling this low volume node. But you can see on the daily chart we have these kind of a descending lows, basically, which is kind of this weaker price action. So somewhere within this area would be my upside target for Bitcoin. And looking at ETH, things are very similar on a weekly. I think ETH is overall kind of less, even less bullish. ETH BTC being quite weak overall. ETH sitting at this edge of the high volume node here, which is also a daily level of SR. Kind of like if you would look at this red line is lining up with this volume node edge, basically, and you had some sort of a resistance support here. We cannot still crack it. Obviously, based on the fact that we are consolidating under that for over 2 weeks at this point, it should be bullish. And from the weekly kind of perspective, we had this kind of similar situation as on BTC, that we just took out the last week low. I actually posted this on Twitter as well. When in a lot of cases, when it comes to like trend continuations, basically you have these kind of a large expansion candles, and then the next one should be just a small consolidation, and the third candle usually just takes out the previous low and continues to the upside. So this was really looking quite bullish at one point last week as we were kind of breaking in this area, but you can see how much the momentum kind of died off, and it's kind of annoying because obviously ETH is at level of resistance which was tested like 8 times already. So I'm pretty sure everyone was expecting it to break. I was expecting it to break. I was getting long somewhere within this kind of 1750 area, but this was just kind of lacking any sort of follow through. I closed the trade, and this still looks to me quite bearish at the moment, with obviously BTC being bearish as well. You can see, if you're gonna take a look here, this thing down here is the open interest indicator. We had this attempt on Friday afternoon, which is this large candle on the open interest, stuck right at the resistance, and this just started to dying off very slowly. So quite disappointing. You know, I was definitely expecting more from ETH, you know, more kind of sort of squeeze, especially with this huge amount of buying. You know, this is one of these kind of order flow things. If you're gonna take a look at this next candle, you know, similar on H4 based on the open interest, you know, how this at least overshot these highs. You know, I was definitely expecting something, you know, like trading at least here, and then if it would fail off, it would be much better short. But here at the moment, you know, we once again, this was that consolidation, made this move to the upside. We broke under that, tested the whole structure from like a downside. And we also have on ETH, actually, there's very clear double bottom here in the close proximity. It's like 1760. So I think we are going to see this first, then any kind of new highs after, you know, how the kind of day developed here on ETH. So these are my thoughts pretty much on Bitcoin and ETH. Like I said, you know, I'm really kind of on higher time frame, on daily. Let me just delete some of these drawings so it's a little bit cleaner. If I would be just looking at like daily and weekly time frames, you know, this doesn't look all that bad. You know, this looks like a ready to break the resistance, and it's consolidating just under it for, like I said, you know, 2 weeks now. But there is, in my opinion, kind of a lack of follow through, and all these attempts, you know, all these kind of buy attempts that we had, you know, they got cut quite quickly, especially the one on Thursday. So yeah, it's on higher time frame. It doesn't look bad from like simple price action perspective, you know, consolidation under the resistance, all of that. But I just have a little hard time to find kind of a decent signal for longs on the lower time frame. So my thoughts on BTC and ETH. ETH BTC, it's kind of middle of nowhere. I would be looking at, and I mentioned this many times, 0.05 would be kind of a level for me to look for potential bounce, and ETH being a overperforming coin compared to Bitcoin. As it's kind of sitting here at the moment, I don't really see any kind of strengths for me to long. So yeah, these are the thoughts. Let me check the indicator for the candles. It's not actually this one, the Koala field volume extension. Just use this one. The one that I'm using is something that is private, and I'm not sharing it publicly. And yeah, the trades on weekly and daily. I just meant looking at the weekly and daily levels for altcoins for like a levels where I want to trade, but I'm not trading daily and weekly charts basically. So yeah, these are thoughts for Bitcoin and ETH. I think we can move on to Runner, and he can talk about a little bit about the altcoins and some narratives.
Yeah, sure. Let me switch to my charts. Wrong. Yeah, I mean, honestly, nothing really much happened in altcoins scene, apart from a couple examples we're gonna cover a bit later. But I know you really don't talk about traditional markets, but did you pay any attention to the recent strength of S&P? Because like literally, I can open the chart.
I was short ES actually. I think it was last week. Yeah, and I got short around 22nd, so it was like 9 days ago. I was pretty happy with the entry I got, and then I just round tripped the whole thing, and this was just like very one-way street to the upside. I was definitely not expecting such a strength in the traditional markets in the ES and NQ.
Yeah, right. This is literally like this structure, which I'm showing in the chart, that's 4-hour S&P 500, is literally looking like some of the altcoins we would be trading or fading. So, which is quite funny.
Yeah, it's classic, the staircase structure, and this used to happen a lot in ES. Like this wasn't during basically the whole move down from like, you know, all the way the last year. This was quite a often occurrence that this was just kind of grinding one way very slowly, and then it was retrace the whole thing. But obviously the hard thing about this is just kind of trying to fade this and getting run over. So yeah, but I was definitely not expecting strength like this.
Yeah, personally, like, not that I'm some macro LARP or anything, but I'm not gonna be commenting on the events itself. But there's quite a bit of jobs data, like labor market data this week, especially Friday seems heavy, so that might give some volatility and potential scalp entries. So just for like context, back to charts. What I guess is why I'm here in the first place, some sort of narratives and musical chairs. I guess the biggest thing really happening, like actually something we're anticipating, is the Shanghai upgrade for ETH, because that should affect ETH BTC and should also affect, let me open ETH BTC. Like as Adam said, we've been in this range for almost 2 years now, from what I have basically drawn on the chart, if that's English, even English term. But there's no need to really draw ranges. I mean, we are expecting Shanghai upgrade. If I look at here on the chart, if I show the last big ETH upgrade we had, which was ETH 2.0, when ETH became deflationary, lol, then we had this massive rally on ETH BTC before the event, right? It rallied like, let's say 50%, but then nuked hard, right, following. So this is another event, probably the biggest ETH event of the year, when a lot of people are anticipating the exact opposite, right? So, but there's two camps. I'm unbiased. I'm just describing what Shanghai upgrade will be. It's happening on 12th. That's the thing you need to know. It's in like 8-9 days from now. And what it essentially means, that people who have staked their ETH from like late 2021, so people staked for years, can finally unstake, right? So from my understanding, the contract was you could only stake, not unstake. So you never really knew when you can actually unstake. So that sounds very crypto to me. But yeah, it's there's a lot of billions of dollars worth of ETH unlocking. But usually when sorry.
So this is something that's supposed to be quite bearish, right? Like, I have no kind of idea about the details, but this sounds like more of a bearish thing than a kind of bullish event.
Well, there's like two camps, because it's not like not everything unlocks in like one day. So it's not like 33 billion of supply of ETH hits the market. It's like gradually, but it also gives long-term believers like like you can, first of all, you can unstake, but when you stake, you actually have like, okay, like you're sure you can actually unstake. So it's like two sides of the things. And a lot of people expect a lot of hedging, like if you stake, then the Shanghai is coming, you might be hedged, a lot of options, a lot of fuckery. So for me, I'm not really trying to predict direction yet. I'm personally just expecting volatility, and just like you said, if BTC goes up, I'm gonna play or like we always keep tweeting like non-stop the same stuff. If BTC goes up, I'm gonna be longing strong altcoins by order flow setups and vice versa. So yeah, that's it. I'm personally looking at LSD basket, which is Lido, Frax shares, and yeah, these two have Binance futures, so that's something I'm looking.
The ETH 2.0 was in October, November, right, last year? Yeah, and that had I remember that having quite a decent rally like before the event.
It was sell the news. It actually topped before the event.
Topped before. Then we had the FTX thing, so that kind of overcame.
Yeah, but market conditions are different, right? I've been tweeting about this in depth. Like, I was the guy literally shorting everything all 2022, even beginning of this year. But the market is clearly different, right? You see a lot of these narratives about Binance cartel, about Binance hot wallets, getting rid of BUSD. Like, it's very simple. Number go up. Last year it didn't, right? So, I mean...
Yeah, but it's kind of weird that, especially how kind of ETH is kind of weak looking, that even though the news is not as, as kind of bullish as the ETH 2.0 was, it's still kind of a big thing for ETH. I would definitely expect more kind of a speculation to the upside, before the news, which they are still in like 9 days, so maybe it still can kind of come. But it's just interesting to me with, obviously, this kind of event being just a week away, that ETH is not the stronger kind of performer in overall market, basically.
I've actually seen some data from Crypto Compare. I hope I'm sourcing them right. I mean, sorry, not sorry if I missed out. But basically, there's a lot of institutional interest right now in products, Bitcoin-based products in general. Since like 9th and 10th of March was like the pivotal quote-unquote local bottom, right? That's when basically, I believe on 13th, the CZ and Binance started the whole thing of like, investing the recovery fund into the market, and people, like, if I'm showing Coinalyze here, like clearly spot is leading by like, it's not even comparable. This is like crazy bid on spot side for Bitcoin for weeks now, spot leading as well. So I think that's why ETH, even though it has like a catalyst, an event coming up, I believe that's the reason why, because Bitcoin has the whole narrative with banking is failing and Bitcoin to $1 or whatever people are snorting. So I guess that's like I guess the current situation or update on ETH BTC. I'm looking into long, so I guess I'm biased, but I think that if BTC could locally bottom for short, like I'm not saying this is macro bottom. If I'm saying bottom, then I'm trying to look for like next 5 to 7 days, or like 14 maximum. Yeah. I'm not gonna hold longs for 3 months and call for $10,000 ETH basically.
Yeah. Someone is asking about Solana. I think I quickly looked at the chart. It seems like there is not much going on with Sol at the moment. You can quickly switch to my screen for just 1 second before we go back to things. Solana. We had this kind of a basically huge short squeeze at the beginning of the year. We hit once again very clear kind of weekly SR, something which I mentioned in BTC just moments ago, basically when a lot of people kind of try to outsmart the simplest things in price action. And I'm not like a biggest fan of like simple PA. Obviously everything kind of works and doesn't work and has its own kind of pros and cons, but you can see where basically Solana topped, and since then I feel like nothing is really going on with Sol. I feel like there is a kind of decent NFT space in Solana, which is basically the only thing. I'm not really aware of any kind of a apps or something that's significant. So yeah, the chart doesn't look really well. We made a lower low on daily, tested something within this kind of a distribution, pulling lower. It's one of those things like with overall strength in Bitcoin and general weakness in altcoins. If you are not really picking up some of these narrative coins, everything is kind of just dying down. It's really doesn't really make sense to me to look for longs on something like Solana, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, I fully agree. Someone asked if I put limits or market in. Depends. In current market conditions, I'm afraid to go to sleep with having position open. Unless it's Bitcoin short, I can sleep well because I know I'm not going to wake up to 50% move to either direction. And I fully agree with Adam. I think it's really important. Like we call this musical chairs, right? Because that's unfortunately exactly what's happening. And it's not necessarily your favorite influencer fault that you might be slow to react to the rotation. But it's really like we've covered this in depth many times, that you can use services like Livetas or just be active on Twitter and see where the money is flowing, because it's really like, even though the markets are the prices on Bitcoin and ETH are quite elevated compared to sorry about that. Prices are quite elevated. There's not really much more capital actually joining the space. So what's really happening is maybe you have a narrative number one, it rotates to something else. So I agree, Solana had literally nothing going on for it apart from like beginning of the year, when everybody, like I believe Multicoin or which fund was liquidating their position, everybody was shorting. Then it mega pumped. GCR showed his like $50 million long or something, and that's it for Solana right? It's
Yeah,
still
you can. I feel like you can think about this, and it's not only Solana. Obviously, it's like an overall market that, like crypto overall. You have all these bunch of coins. Obviously, if you kind of filter out to the coins that have some decent volume, are traded at like major exchanges, you will end up with like 100 coins basically. And all of these 100 coins, especially altcoins altogether, have like almost one-to-one correlation. And the only moment when this kind of correlation breaks is if you have either some sort of order flow event, which being for example Solana towards the end of the year, people are just heavily shorting that, so it had this huge bounce, or you have some sort of like a narrative, like a fundamental event basically. So once these things die down, it will just move with the general market. Basically, there is like a no reason why, until some new piece of information comes to Solana or whatever else, you can just go with this approach that altcoins looking kind of like shit compared to BTC. There is a overall kind of strength in Bitcoin and more so weakness in like a huge basket of alts overall. So yeah, so there is like not many reasons to really look for something like Solana, which has, like I said, and like Ran said, nothing going on, and trying to kind of force out something. You can see this even on the open interest basically. If you can see my screen.
Yep.
Like we had this huge change from middle of December to start of January. This is your short squeeze basically, and then all this open interest just died down, and we are at like 4.2 million on Binance Perp, which is like the level we had in like basically before that, and like nothing really crazy in that sense. So yeah, from like a simple price action perspective, obviously if BTC is going to make a new highs, then I would expect Solana to also move to the upside. But as the chart is looking right now on higher time frames, I think as long as we are under $24, I would be looking for like rotation back towards 18, 15, these lows. So yeah. Someone patterns on gold. Yeah, I sometimes trade gold and the legacy markets. I don't really use the patterns, as you mentioned, like flex and stuff like that. It's not really something that I do. I'm just drawing horizontal lines and looking at order flow that is happening around these areas. So yeah.
Yeah, like maybe to add, I'm switching to my charts. As Adam said, like these altcoins are weak or without narrative. If anything, you can use them as like a pair trade, honestly. So let's say there is some new shiny kid on the block, so you can maybe, long the strong new coin and short the old one. But it's really up to you to figure out what works for you. But yeah, it's actually, I kind of enjoy these market conditions much more. I'm able to actually take more trades and get better results trading, because there's actually like 3 coins maximum moving. In January it was like 50 coins moving, so like hard to manage it. But in these conditions, but yeah, I guess we can move. I know you have some examples ready, so I'm gonna switch to your screen if you wanna.
Yeah, sure. We talked about it would be kind of interesting to cover actually coins that are moving quite a bit, because this is something that I see on Twitter all the time. Basically, people trying to fade these coins that obviously are overperforming the market. We had XRP, we had this one, which I don't know the name. We had the SXP. And all these coins, obviously a huge directional move. This is where people really end up losing a lot of money. When coins are kind of slow and ranging, it's quite much more forgiving. Basically, CFX was also one of the coins that just went very kind of directional way. And I just wanted to give you some tips, basically how to kind of approach these things, because obviously, like I said, everyone tries to fade it. I mentioned this on Twitter. If you are trading stuff like this, always look at the higher time frames. There is no reason for you to, looking at something like 5-minute chart and try to pick tops and bottoms. If, obviously there is a chance you will catch something like this. but I would always be starting at, even weekly time frame, although I'm not that big into like weekly and monthly time frames, but for stuff like this, I definitely start with the weekly chart first. You can see, simple SR sitting right here. We have this September high. We kind of took and started to roll over. So that would be my kind of first indication. But what I actually find a little more important, and let me just give me a second, and I will switch to the CoinAlyze. In 1 second. Okay, you should now see the CoinAlyze chart. If you are going to take a look at XRP first, and this is actually the short that I took, on something like H4, which once again, looking at really the kind of higher time frames, not trying to nail any tops and bottoms. Top, I don't really care. I don't really need to be short from here. What I like to look personally is like the levels of simple price action once again that were acting as support on the way up and then waiting for these to break. For XRP, for example, and let me change this to like 2-hour time frame so it will be a little cleaner. You can see that we had basically this kind of level of support. This we made a price pause, we moved to the upside, and then market was still kind of bouncing from it, acting as support. And now, as you can see, we flipped it. It acts as resistance. And if you feel a little more aggressive, you can kind of start to, once it's when it's going to bounce from this like 6 times already, this is getting weaker and weaker, obviously, because the kind of demand, the resting bids that are sitting in this area are getting filled and market is not kind of proceeding higher. So if you feel a little more risky, then you can start shorting here. If not, you can just wait for this to break, short the underside retest. And if I'm going to compare this to this thing, the INJ, which is still on this kind of move to the upside, once again, gonna look at the 2-hour chart. We're gonna take a look at the weekly because I believe this is going. This is not having the data. Spot market should, yeah, nice. So weekly chart on this thing, basically, you can see once again that we have a level of resistance, which was this wick right here. We had a support before, a little bit of support here, last level of resistance at 5.3 approximately. But then if you are going to take a look at the 2-hour time frame, obviously if you can short here if you are trading lower time frames. I know this is for the runner. This is one of his kind of a bread and butter setups when he just waits for the liquidations, which you can see we have here. But the thing that I do, and the thing that as I kind of hold trades for a little longer, I'm once again looking at that last level that kind of led to this move to the upside. And you can see in this case, this is still very clearly holding the price, and this is also the area where you had a large pickup of the open interest. So in theory, although obviously we are hitting this kind of key level of weekly SR, which like I said, this should mark the top and this should roll over more to the downside. There is still a large amount of buyers basically coming into this last leg. You can see, we have a large increase in open interest. For this to kind of add on the overall strength, you can see that funding is heavily negative throughout the whole move to the upside. So this would be for me like immediate kind of red flag to not be too aggressive on shorts. The negative funding is not happening because people are actually shorting. In my opinion, the negative funding is happening because the white line here is your spot CVD and the kind of gray line is your perp CVD. Spot is trading way above the perps, meaning that this kind of a biggest demand is coming from the spot market. This is why your funding is negative. So, and looking at something like XRP, I'm not exactly sure how the funding and everything looked. Yeah, the funding on this thing was basically positive the whole time. You can see that this last leg to the upside, which we made to this weekly resistance. This was led mostly by perps. Spot was more so kind of flat here. You start losing these levels. You start putting these rejection. This is much better short in my opinion. And I know Runner was tweeting about the XSXP. I have no idea what this is. I haven't traded it, but yeah, the same case here.
Jesus fucking Christ! Look at that funding.
Yeah, this is going. I like I said, I don't know. This is something with like Korean listing or something like that.
Oh,
yeah,
this really needs no introduction. Like literally, old teams scammed.
Yeah, this perhaps got listed just a few days ago, right? Because there is no
data. No. Just nobody traded it for years.
Oh, okay.
You can look at weekly chart. This scam has been around for years.
Oh, okay. This is interesting because you have kind of a spot CVD going down, but the funding is also very heavily negative. So I believe this is like really low volume, low liquidity. So any kind of buy at the spot is going to move that way above the perp price. But it's someone is mentioning that this has a spot market on Upbit only. So maybe if because this CVD is not showing you Upbit data, but if there is a large demand on Upbit on spot market, the funding will still be negative because obviously they are kind of adjusting that for overall trading pairs. Yeah. I think at least.
I'm gonna switch for a sec to mine.
Sure.
If you don't mind, just to add up to SXP, as Adam said, it does not have. If you look at CVDs, how to check. I really recommend, especially people who trade similar styles like me or Adam. You can click here. You can, with the CVDs, you can click on the, how do you call this? Kolečko. I don't know. Settings, sorry. So you can see within a CVD spot, there's only these exchanges, right? So, and then if I look at CoinGecko, I'm gonna show you real quick. SXP. We can look at volumes. Then you see that Upbit is actually doing like 4 times bigger spot volume than Binance, right? And it's been like this for like a few days now, ever since all this move happened. So every time you're trading altcoin, maybe you're just watching some of mine or Adam's videos, probably Adam's. Take a look at this first, right? Because maybe you're looking for some divergences and you're missing the most important part. So back to you.
Yeah, generally, I mean, like, if you have these parabolic moves, especially like XRP obviously is a like third most traded coins after maybe Cardano has like bigger volume, so then those kind of inefficiencies won't be so clear. But with these altcoins that have just like huge percentage increase within few days and are kind of hot just at the moment, but 6 months from now no one will remember. What I found out was like using stuff like funding and looking at these kind of if the bid is coming actually from the spot market is very good kind of signal to not to try to fade this very aggressively. I have a Neo chart here because this is the trade that I actually took that I remember taking. And my point here being that you'll usually have a lot of time because these things tend to eventually retrace the whole move. I don't think SXP or INJ will just kind of move to infinity from here. But the Neo was the thing at the end of the February when obviously you have this large leg up, a lot of open interest coming, funding is kind of turning negative. I'm not really interested in fading this here at this point because, like I said, negative funding, spot was having a decent bid. But once you, once again, start losing these kind of immediate levels of support, this kind of a price pause on 2-hour time frame, acted as support here, little bit of support, but then you start to lose it. And I was actually shorting Neo all the way in this area right here because at that point, usually these things are not like huge leg up and huge leg down immediately. You will have this more of a kind of grinding, like you have the impulse move, and then these markets tend to just grind down slower and slower. So I would be really kind of careful not to rush into things like this. You can see that Neo then had one more attempt with increase on on open interest into this kind of established resistance at that point, and I actually shorted it here once we lost this kind of a distribution area. So yeah, my tip definitely, when you see the altcoin going parabolic, obviously, if you are not in long position, there is like zero reasons for, in my opinion, to chase it. If you are not trading like 1 minute chart, if you would find some lower time frame entry with like well-defined risk, then go for it. But for me, I like to hold trades for a bit. Nowadays, at least, I just kind of wait for funding to become positive. CVD start to kind of trending down. This starts losing levels of simple price action, and then I will be more than happy to short it, because if you will try to rush into things, you might end up like trying to short Kava basically, which I might have done somewhere in this area. But very, very kind of similar situation with market really starting to picking up the pace. Funding is going heavily negative. This wasn't that kind of a typical parabolic move because it pulled back quite a bit. At least gave me time to exit the short, but yeah, then you have this kind of a huge overshoot to the upside. So definitely they take your time with these coins. They go from no one knowing them and everyone talking about them within the day. They really can go for a long time before they will eventually fade. So yeah.
Yeah, I might add another example, something I do like to trade. I'm gonna also show XRP. I'm much more comfortable talking about coins with some sort of market cap, especially on the short side, because people like getting wrecked. For some reason, shorting 200 million market cap, like SXP, just maybe quick summary. It was like $250 million market cap, and it was doing 1.5 billion on spot. Like, why would you short this shit? It's literally like chances of you catching the top on 1 minute chart, sure. If it's just like a scalp liquidation trade for a few minutes in and out, sure. But like holding a short and going to sleep, for example, is just asking for trouble. But let's actually talk about XRP, because I took a short on this thing as well. Actually, funny enough, neither me or Adam took this trade, but I messaged Adam like somewhere around here. I'm showing like 50% lower that someone is T-vapping XRP.
Yeah.
And none of us actually took it, but then it caught my attention because there was quite a lot of volume. So my way of thinking basically with XRP was, this price action is like quite literally a parabola. There's a tool for that, but I'm not gonna do it. But I was looking like, why would anybody buy this coin, right? So I did a bit of research, and basically, long story short, a lot of the community members, investors in Ripple, were expecting some sort of resolution of the SEC lawsuit that's been going on for almost 3 years now. And basically, if you opened YouTube and you just typed 3 letters XRP, you've seen people calling for $5,000 price target, etc. Also, Koreans, we just mentioned Upbit, doing a lot of volumes on it. So basically, my trade was something I made this up completely, but time-based invalidation, or like event-based invalidation, where basically, for me as a European, I was waiting for daily close, or like let's say XRP case has a judge called Torres, right? So when does she leave her work and goes back to home to her husband, or like her kids, whatever, her dog, right? So I was waiting. For me, that was late at night, but basically nothing happened, right? So community was expecting deadline by that like window of whatever, Friday afternoon for US, and nothing happened. And guess what happened to the fucking price, right? It went down literally almost like 9% on that day. I remember, because I was shorting this from a bar, getting hammered, and it went down like 8%. Yeah, like if you caught the exact top, 11%. And I mean, as Adam said, this looks bad. But yeah, something I called event-based invalidation, because a lot of these events, you see a lot of run-up into the event, and then if the event is not like big enough, or like the expectations are higher than the actual reality, then you often see relative weakness. Let me check comments.
Doge is pumping based on something Musk did on Twitter. I just looked at the chart quickly.
Did he tweet? Can somebody let me know so I can short while streaming?
I never trade these things. Like this is, someone said that he changed the Twitter icon to Doge.
Holy fuck! You're for real? Oh my god, I'm not logged in. Fucking hell.
I can't see it on my Twitter, but Kobe posted it, and yeah, it's actually there. I can see it here.
Fuck! Man, that was the easiest long ever then.
Yeah, he.
God damn
he
it.
really changed it.
Jesus. Fuck! Sorry for
That's
having
funny.
mental breakdown. Yeah, I mean, it was literally the easiest trade ever then.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I never traded.
Yeah,
these,
I
like,
would not fade this. I would not fade it.
Yeah, but yeah. This, like, I don't know how you would kind of, rank the different types of Musk tweets about Doge, but this definitely seems to me like not
Not a
the
fade.
one that you. Yeah, definitely not something that you want to fade. That's kind of interesting. It's I'm looking at the chart actually on CoinAlyze. It's kind of funny on like higher time frame. We had a decent open interest build up in the last few days, which kind of retraced a little bit, but then bouncing from that. That's kind of a interesting thing. If I doubt that someone on perps knew, but you can see the spot CVD on hourly time frame is kind of having this huge run up from the first.
Just let me add. I'll give
Yeah.
a bit of context because what you're showing is April 1st, and basically
Yeah.
Elon has a history of tweeting shit on April 1st for April Fool's Day.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
people were expecting him to troll, and nothing happened.
Okay, yeah. Then it retraced, but it kind of held this point where it started, and bounced from that. That's kind of nice. I never trade these though. It's feel like, although they are fades most of the time and decent fades, I feel like it's a little bit of a crowded trade to do anything with Doge and Musk, tweeting about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first one, right? So now, okay, God bless Elon giving us content in real time, but how my thoughts now work is that the narrative will pick up again about integration. So actually, can you put up a chart Musk with I'm sure it's pumping as well.
Oh Jesus! And I have short on that, which I think. Yeah.
Oh hey, I might.
It's not pumping that much.
I mean, I'm going long. Second.
Yeah, I have a break-even stop. I was shorting this a couple days ago. My stop is trailed somewhere in this area, so I think I will get out for a little bit of profit. But yeah, but this doesn't have anything to do with Musk actually.
No, but it's the Twitter payments, right? So the narrative right now, I can tell you for sure, right? He's putting Doge's logo, meaning he wants to put Doge's fucking payment method, and for that you use Musk protocol or something like that. That will be the thread ors in 30 minutes on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, let me punt a little bit.
But this definitely doesn't seem all that strong at the moment, at least, and it doesn't have that much of a pickup of many things. But yeah, it's still most likely gonna go higher from here.
Yeah, I just feel like people are slow to react, to be honest. Like not many people know. Let's see. I opened a little short, so let's see if I can pay for dinner while streaming.
You mean long?
Yeah, of course. Like shorting, like this is the first, right? This never happened in the past. So maybe I can talk a bit about fading Elon tweets. If he just tweeted picture of a dog saying, my Flocky, whatever is cute little dog. It's like this happened a million times, right? But this is the first one. So this gives you like opportunity for your imagination to make up the case. Woo! I'm up 1.5%. Let's go.
Yeah, this is actually one of the examples where I talked about, and I can quickly cover this trade. I just closed it from the phone. I was shorting this, once again, we were sitting, starting at the weekly chart. This was strong coin. We didn't quite hit this 7.5 level, which I was looking at first, but then we had a kind of a failure at this kind of weekly high. So for me, this was kind of more than enough to look for shorts. You can see right here. And once we started looking at, where the open interest picked up, which you can see coming basically towards this kind of last push to the upside, once we started breaking this, this was for me very kind of simple short opportunity. And I think I got in here because this happened like overnight. Yeah, and I just saw it, put the limit here, got filled, and was nice trade until this got ruined. Yeah, I got out here basically. I was targeting a little lower to like $5, but this is definitely, if these news don't seem like a fate now, so yeah, better be out than round tripping the whole thing basically.
Yeah, and shout out, thank you whoever said the Doge in time, Claudio. It seems nice job, man.
Oh yeah, this is definitely.
I mean, if this keeps going, I expect Musk to outperform this. I just assume a majority of people is really nice classic.
Even ship is pumping, which doesn't have like anything to do, which is kind of interesting always to look at. Okay, so let me look at the questions quickly. Someone's asking breakout on higher time frame level. I never trade breakouts actually. That's like the one thing that I never do is trading a breakout. For example, I don't know, this is a random chart of Musk here. We had this move in middle of the March. I wouldn't like buy at the close of this candle or just like buying into this move and hoping for the best. I never do this. I from the experience, I know that the moment I will do it, the market will do just something like this. So I always look for any kind of pullbacks and the places where I can kind of refine my risk to reward more. But I know a lot of people that are breakout trading on lower time frames. It can work if you are in like a high momentum environment. It's just not something that I do. Funding rate to price action. Well, the funding rate simply is just the difference between spot and the perpetual contract price. So you have a spot market, you have a perps. And it's basically, it should kind of incentivize people to open longs and shorts, but it doesn't mean that there are more longs and shorts. It just means that if funding is positive, then the perps are trading above the spot price. If it's negative, they are trading under spot price, and this can be caused by more things than just like more people long or short, which is not even a thing because you have market makers and people trading delta neutral, so there is not really a more of one side than the other basically. Yeah, I'm kind of swing trading at the moment. I would say that I ideally want to hold trades for like a day or two. Sometimes I hold for longer, but I don't trade like 5-minute charts or tick charts anymore.
Like Doge, when they change it back, if they change it back, it's probably gonna be a nice short. But
yeah,
don't try to front run it, guys. Like, don't be silly. We just talk about.
Yeah, this is getting bought by basically everyone at this point. The funding, I believe, for this will stay mostly in the positive section. These huge coins like these, even though we had a little bit of a negative funding at the bottom, which is kind of rare for we also had it for BTC, which is also kind of rare because in calculation of funding you also have a interest rate, which makes funding in most cases positive when it's like bigger coins basically, when it's not like your kind of shit coin with 100 million volume. So situation, for example, like this on BTC where we bottomed out is definitely kind of a rare thing to see and good signal to go long. Yeah, Musk seems like picking up.
No. I mean, I personally closed. You have to go to 1 minute chart though. On 1 hour, you.
Yeah.
I made 1.5%. So thank you.
Yeah,
We
I
should
still
not
think this not looking that great. Like obviously depends on how the news will develop. But still, yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to trade these for me. Like have like any kind of higher time frame bias on these coins. I usually how I kind of look at this is when I'm picking like trades on like higher time frames. You know, I enter. You know, as with this, I entered somewhere in here. My target was these lows, this kind of a trend line support, which basically got then broken and tested this kind of first point. But I generally just trail my stop, based on like price action, based on new information basically coming, and just kind of try to run trades. So this trade for me, this was nothing too insane. With me entering here, stop somewhere in here, I closed the trade basically 1.5R with my target original was like 6. So this is a lot of my trades basically in altcoins where I just enter on like a higher time frame turning point and then just go with the overall market and manage the trade accordingly. The trades that I took in Q1 were mostly swing trades. Actually, I did a little bit of day trading on alts, but yeah, I personally had some issues, with the way that I trade. At least, I was often right on like a move, but getting with like too tight stops basically. So yeah, most of the trades were swing trades executed on like 30-minute chart, which is the chart that I use for execution on most cases. Okay, so what is for the next week is there anything except the ETH Shanghai narratives?
No, sorry, like this Doge thing completely got me. This is exactly like my type of trading, so I'm sorry for just disappearing for a few minutes.
Okay, so this is still going up. Oh, it's fading a little bit.
I'm gonna fade Doge eventually.
Dude, I closed the trade already, so I can talk about this. My trailing stop was above this high. Oh, we already took it. Yeah, we all. Okay, I would have been out. I closed the trade somewhere here when you mentioned it. I closed it on the phone. But I just wanted to say if this would never take the high and just die from here, I would be pretty pissed. But yeah, it already did. So.
You can revenge trade and enter again. Double the size. No stop loss.
No, I don't know. This kind of doesn't look that bad. I usually try to, and I'm also not a fan how we kind of left this area with this like triple top here. So definitely not something that I would just short now on like higher time frame reasoning. So. Someone asked about exo. Yeah, I'm using exo charts. I'm not using Sera anymore. You can even trade legacy market or like chart legacy markets on exo charts. I'm using exo charts. But to be fair, I don't use. I use Footprint. Sometimes I have like a one specific setup basically when I want to use Footprint. But for like most parts, I don't look at DOM. I don't look at I don't use market profile, for example. And the most of the order flow that I'm interested in for these kind of bigger moves come from CoinAlyze. So yeah. But ExoChart is great. I use it. From time to time. So the Doge. Let me take a look at this actually. How I would at least trade this. Yeah, I think if really the news are kind of strong, and if he's not going to change it back within the next few minutes, then I think we are going all the way to 10 cents. This is kind of a weekly swing. The daily swing point. Definitely doesn't seem to be kind of a fate. I think these Doge moves often kind of retrace in like one candle, right?
Yeah, like this will go. This will go. This type of news I expect to do well for a few days. Obviously, depending on Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin goes to 26.5, then this shit is not gonna hold up. But yeah, this can keep going because yeah. But yeah, it will eventually full retrace. Like, what do people think that, still like all these Burj Khalifas on higher time frames is something to do.
This is Musk buying Twitter, right? Back in October. Yeah.
One of best shorts.
Yeah, but once again, you could get quite a burn, quite a bet, on this if you try to short this kind of preemptively. I don't think I can go on like much lower time frames. Yeah, I can't. Let me just show you this, because I was also shorting this actually, and this is one of the good. Let me change the trading view. There is no data on CoinLines. Someone asking about the Axia futures. I have got all the Axia courses many years ago when I was trading bonds. It's a good resource to learn. I don't think it's necessarily something that stuck with me personally. It's like good kind of theoretical stuff on order flow, but I didn't really took that much from my trading point of view. Yeah, this is once again, one of these examples. This is the October, November, Musk buying Twitter. No reason to go to 1 minute chart, try to kind of fade it, mark out your general levels of SR, once these start to break. I believe, if I remember correctly, I was shorting somewhere in this area, which is quite late. This is obviously a 20% move from the highs. But you will still get this full retrace eventually. This was fueled by FTX, so but still, I'm pretty sure that this would happen anyway. But this looks very strong at the moment, at least.
Yeah, look at it like weekly. I think we're gonna tag 97. For some reason, I have that marked out as a level. I don't know why.
Yeah. Seems like the 10 cents this week would eventually get kind of tested. This looks actually quite decent on like a weekly chart. If this is not going to die completely, then
not
some
yet.
kind of case that this would hold, and we would just slowly retrace to this, then it's actually not a bad looking chart as well. Someone asking why is ETH pumping. Yeah, this doesn't seem like a too big of a pump. This seems like a retest of this. What's Bitcoin doing? Yeah, Bitcoin is dying. I don't know. ETH has been very weird recently. ETH is not overshooting the levels. It's kind of randomly go up and down. ETH is kind of tricky market to trade. But then you have situation when it's really clean all of a sudden. So yeah, I always kind of between ETH and BTC. I always prefer to trade Bitcoin. Someone is if I buy a spot. No, I don't buy a spot all that much. At all basically. When I'm bullish long term, I either just buy quarterly futures, so I don't pay funding. Like go long on quarterly futures, and then just you can roll them at every 3 months. Or buy options with like a longer expirations, but I don't really own a spot. I'm like not the biggest believer in things like this going to 200k and I will just sit in like a spot back, and I believe personally I can find better use of that margin that I would be just using buying several BTC or whatever. So I don't really buy spot when I'm bullish, like long term, like for example. If I just look at the weekly chart and monthly chart and something looks really good, I can just I can still just trade futures, or for BTC and ETH I can buy calls, long calls. So yeah, someone asking about XRP. So I'll take a look at that. Runner is full immersed trading Doge at the moment. So.
Yeah, we should have just pressed long, man. Like it's still going. I'm
on Doge.
I'm kind of sad that we mid-curved this so hard. Like we could have. We were not even late. Fucking hell.
Just few minutes ago, I was talking about it. I never trade breakouts. Yeah, this is not trade for me. But this is definitely strong. This is like really going. So, what I would do, although this is like a super. Crazy, high risk case is like if you take a look at the 1 minute chart, this is not going up in like one line, so what I feel like is at least good to is like wait for this little consolidation. Once you start breaking above, enter somewhere in here with your stop below. Try to put at least a little bit of a risk management into things like these. So I don't know if you have actually seen the drawing tool or not. But yeah, I was talking about this consolidation. But these are not the trades that I take. I feel like obviously Doge is not the case because it's highly traded coin, but you can get slipped and there is like a lot of fuckeries basically going on. But yeah, this is just not stopping. For the XRP that someone asked about, let me take a look. XRP this is 1 minute chart. Let me. Yeah, this is, I don't know, not looking too strong. I think today was actually a nice opportunity to short. We had this kind of level. We traded above, below. Went for a retest. I would expect this to move lower, but with XRP, in my opinion, is one of those things where the narrative Runner was talking about with SEC is kind of dead, as nothing happened. It's more in hands of Bitcoin. If I believe if Bitcoin will do well, XRP will go with it. If not, it will just dump with it as well. For me, this is one of the trades where I'm just in and I'm just trailing the stop loss, see how far I can get it. But I wouldn't be necessarily shorting it like here or, close to current price basically. So yeah, I think we've been live for an hour. If anyone doesn't have any questions, we will call it a day today. What is Musk doing? Yeah, Musk is pumping.
Fuck, I'm such a mid curve. Jesus Christ.
Runner said, this should do well with the Doge. This is totally not my thing, so I don't know. But I believe that we are going to be kind of testing these highs at 6.5. So yeah, Atas for the platform is great. It's free, so if you want to just test a bunch of order flow stuff, Atas is good platform. For the execution though, it can be a little bit laggy. Sorry, I'm typing Atas. Someone asked about optimism. Yeah, it can be a little laggy for execution, so be a little careful when using Atas for actually trading. OP is actually nice. I had this level, this kind of a support. We traded under, we reclaimed that. We are now sitting here. So in theory, optimism should be a decent long, as long as this is quite a wide stop obviously, but as long as this low is in, it should be decent. I just feel like there is not much going on for optimism. The layer 2 kind of narrative is a little dead in my opinion, especially with Arbitrum having that kind of fuckeries during the weekend. I would maybe look to long optimism above this, but like I said, not much is going on for OP at the moment. What seems to be a smarter play is something that Runner mentioned, looking at these LSD coins, which is Wi-Fi, Lido, and Frax. Frax is, once again at resistance. Wi-Fi is kind of like testing this trend line. I think Wi-Fi is looking decent on daily time frame if it's really going to pick up this narrative, and I don't like to trade Lido. I think this coin is trading quite stupid. Yeah, but it's very much a range bound, so yeah. Anyway, I think we will call it a day. As I said, we've been live for an hour, so thank you everyone for joining us. Hopefully you will join us again the next week. Remember, if you want to get lifetime access for free to CoinMarketMan, sign up with the link in the description, and you can use it for Bybit.
Yeah, if you want to long Doge and get liquidated, definitely a good place to do it.
So yeah.
Thanks everybody.
Okay, I'll see you next week. Thank you.